kind of coming back to that a little bit, we see trends in pretty much every industry, and it seems like they're changing constantly all the time, faster and faster and faster, the more time goes on. What are some of the trends that you've seen in customer experience that are kind of new or changing, or, something was a paradigm and all of a sudden it's, shuffled away?
Yeah. I mean, things have changed so rapidly since I started. One of the big things I remember from when I first jumped in was sort of like an in-process trend where it was counterintuitive for a lot of companies because we would tell them this. I remember in my consulting days, and they would be like, "What are you talking about?" Because we'd come in and we would say, "Hey, the first thing you need to do is stop providing phone support." And somebody somewhere would like start pulling their hair out and going like, I can't believe you just said that. Like, people want to talk to us on the phone. And then we would sit down and we would explain like, no, they don't want to talk to you on the phone. That's just where they get results, because your email support sucks and it takes a ton of back and forth and extra hours because you don't have a person right there. So what they really want is a fast solution, not a phone call. They want to talk to you via email. That is one trend that's certainly changed in the past 10 years since I've been doing this, is that now live chat, texting, social media, I'd say predominantly live chat is probably the most popular channel for most customers, at least right now. But social's kind of all over the place because social media is kind of all over the place as a marketplace right now. But social and texting are kind of like neck and neck, but it's because they're fast and they're conversational, and that's another big trend. Is that that was one of the other first things we jump in and tell people is like, business language is out. Don't do that. Just like talk to people like they're people. Now I come in and work with teams on how to do that with AI and language learning models for their chat bots. Because like nobody likes talking to a robot and nobody likes talking to a human that sounds like a robot. I think some other things too that are kind of counterintuitive. I tend to give customers a little bit more credit these days, especially in the SaaS world, for being, there's this really delicate line you walk between like, treating a customer like they have the technical acumen to get a thing done, and also explaining it like they're 5. It's a really, really delicate tightrope, but it can be done. A skill. Yeah, it's one of those skills that makes people really, really excellent at CX, and like I hire for that. I ask people like, explain something complicated to me, and then I watch how they do it and see whether or not they make me feel dumb as they're explaining it. So I think like you can trust that your customers are going to be a little bit more tech savvy and a lot more expectation averse, because we live in a world now where, if I send them, a video of like, go here in your account and click this button and then click that button and then click this button, depending on the product, the response might be like, oh, okay, great. Or it might be like, well, why aren't you just doing that for me? Like, why are you giving me things to click, dude? Go and fix it. So that's another interesting challenge. The last big one I would mention too is just self-serve. Again, I think it's less counterintuitive now because people like me have been out there like banging that drum for 10 years now, but customers don't. It's the same thing as phones, right? If I have the option to not talk to somebody to solve a problem I'm having because I can just solve it myself, I'm going to do that. That sounds great. So the rise of like self-serve and really deep, rich, like immersive self-serve experiences is another big trend that I think we're going to see, especially with AI being as popular as it is right now. Like we're going to see more and more and more of that moving along in the future, and a lot more people on the back end like constantly tinkering on those experiences to make them really rich and interesting.